Hi guys, me again, and this time we're not on the range. We are in the team house back garden, and it's February in Sofia. We're at elevation nearly 1,000 meters, and it's nearly 20 degrees. You probably see Alice behind me sunbathing in her flower bed, okay, because they've already popped out. We're having an unusually warm season, but it's nice and quiet here, so hopefully this might be quite a good little video, or maybe not, but tell us at the end if you like, or don't, I don't care. Okay, so what we're going to be talking today is about entry-level kit, types of kit that you might want to be bringing to the range for your first time, and maybe bunking some of those myths. I just want to say that everything I'm about to say is from my own personal opinion, and most people that know me know I don't like people's personal opinions very often. I'm more interested in data and how it works for you. So frankly, if you take any of my advice, it doesn't work for you, let me know, okay, don't mind about that. But tell me also what did work for you, okay? This is only shooting the shit, so to speak, in terms of just going over a few ideas and concepts of what you might want to think about. Thanks, Alice. Okay, so the first question we get asked by most shooters when they're booking their first private lesson or coming on to a group course or something is, what do I need to bring with me? Do I need to go and get myself a full set of multicam battle dress uniform and boots and helmet? And no, you don't. Even if you're coming over and having a series of lessons with us, we've got enough kit. We've got a full 8-man loadout, body armour, helmets, chest rigs, shooter belts, obviously the weapons and the ancillaries to go with that. So frankly, nobody needs to really bring anything particularly special. My colleagues and I are really quite impressed when somebody turns up at the range this time of year dressed something like this. Now, I'm not commenting on my fashion state because I don't have one, all right, but I'm talking about jeans, jumper, good belt, good pair of boots, okay, because again, this time of year it's quite regular to be standing around up to your ankles in snow. And if you're not warm and comfortable, you're not going to enjoy the experience and you're not going to be learning as much as well. So common sense, first rule of thumb, be warm, appropriate footwear, and if you're desperate to go mad and go and buy something because you think you're going to be getting into the industry or the sport in a bit of a big way, I'd always start off with a bit of PPE in terms of protection equipment, okay? So that would include shooter glasses, which you can pick up. I mean, even a pair of plastic safety goggles from your local hardware store, about €5, okay? They will do you, all right? Again, we have them in stock as well. A set of ear defenders. You will not be enjoying your shooting if you are not using ear defenders. And something like these, a pair of 3M Bullseye 1 passive, they're non-active, so they don't have a battery, so they don't help you hear any better or anything like that. It's about €30 each, and they'll last you a lifetime. And these are what our students use. We've got these for all our students. So again, you don't need to bring them with you because we have got them for you. But if you are going to the range regularly, having your own set of ear defence is often something that people prefer. But again, personal choice. If you're going active, again, the price goes up a little bit more. So these are some Pelter COMTACS, which I used to have. I used to use, and now you've been used by students. They take batteries up and down, buttons there. So with the microphones, you can actually hear better than with your normal hearing on range, which is really useful. We've done a whole review on ear defenders. I would stay away from the ultra cheap Chinese ones, okay? There are good Chinese brands stocked by our partners, Arms BG, down in the city centre of Sofia. They're called Earmores, and a number of our colleagues have got those, and the students have got those, and they're very happy with them. The battery lasts a bit better on these, I find, but frankly, there's not a great deal of difference between the two, and about half the price compared to the Peltors. So for about £70, you can get €70, I should say, €75. You can get yourself a half decent, really quite decent set of active ear defence. Then a lot of people want to start actually going and investing in equipment. Really suggest you don't do that until you come to the range for the first time. Have a chat with us and try some of our gear and see what works for you and what doesn't, okay? Because what we do tend to find is most people go off and buy their sexy drop leg holsters because they've seen them on Call of Duty or something, and then they wonder why they're not particularly fast when they start timing and drawing and all that kind of stuff, okay? So again, if it works for you, works for you. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But I would just take a bit of advice and actually try a couple of different rigs out. And again, the place I'd normally start is around the waist, okay, which is where you're going to be carrying your pistol and your ammunition, i.e. your belt, okay? And again, we can go mad, and if you really wanted to, you could actually go and get something as mad as this, okay, which may be familiar to some people. This is what some people refer to as a war belt. British Army referred to it as a webbing set, okay. It's basically load carrying equipment, and in my day we were taught that a belt kit like this with a harness can see it's pretty heavy, pretty chunky, pretty bulky, okay. Is designed for you to live out of it for 24 hours. I've got 6 magazine pouches, grenade pouch, 9mm multicam pouch, water bottle, cooking set, metal mug in there. I've got my bug out survival comfort kit in there, including wash and shaving kit, emergency rations, for basic hygiene kits and things like that. But again, I'm not going on holiday here. I need a toothbrush. And that's frankly about it, okay. Good rip-off first aid kit and commander's pouch down here. Got a bum roll on the top for basher, emergency shelter if you're from a different world, tarp, as a lot of civilians refer to them as, and you can find them, or your waterproofs if you ever wore waterproofs. So that you could potentially live out of for 24 hours quite easily and fight out of, but you may look a bit, how do they call it in the film? Full retard if you turn up on a range like this. However, many do, okay. Just do us a favour, if you are turning up in full rig and body armour and everything, at least have a plates in it, okay, because you do look a bit funny. But again, personal choice. If you want to rock up on range and really stand out and draw quite a lot of attention, go nuts, but this probably wouldn't be what I'd be using anywhere outside of an environment where I was actually in a trench or I was in a light infantry role, and I'm not. So really, honestly, this comes out for show and tell about once a month, twice a month on classroom courses. It is normally used once every 6 months when we're doing a field training course or a night training course or something. Apart from that, I have other lighter kit because I am working on a range, okay. I am not in Ukraine, I am not war fighting with this kit, so that might have been of interest to you. It's also old school roll pin buckle, okay, so it's very easy to adjust on the move. And again, this can weigh 25 to 30 kilos when it's all fully loaded up, so not going to be your most comfortable range day if it's 40 degrees out and you're having to do lots of drills. This may not be what you're looking for, but I just brought that along for a bit of fun, okay. Let's get rid of him over there. This may be where you want to start, okay, and this is just a very cheap training holster, okay. Forbus, not sure where they're made, could be Italy, could be Israel, doesn't even say. So God knows, possibly China, all right. And it's just a paddle retention holster. And all this does is it slips between the belt and the trousers there. So the belt feeds in there, so it really locks in place, so it won't move, so that when you're drawing the pistol, you're not going to bring the holster with you. You can get an identical pouch for the other side for a couple of pistol magazine pouches, and they're just going to sit on any normal belt and replicate anything else I'm about to show you today. One of those is about 20 euros, and the magazine pouches, double magazine pouch, is about the same price. So for approximately 40 euros, you can start yourself off with a good little bit of training kit, okay? You don't need to go mad. I can't stress that enough, okay? However, this is the point where I do say, if you are serious about getting into something, I am a big believer in buy cheap, buy twice, okay? So if you are at a budget, I strongly suggest you stick to your budget. If you have a little bit more resources in terms of spending power and things like that, you might want to think about getting something a little bit more professional, okay? So moving on to this, which is one of our student belts, which we keep in store here, and it's a COMTACS, okay? It's a very good rigid belt, and that's what you're looking for on a belt, okay? Ideally, especially if it's going to be a shooter belt. Because that gives you the rigidity, okay? We are going to be talking in more detail about the Templar's gear, variations on a theme here, because they do some very innovative stuff. But this is fine to get started with. It's got a good secure belt buckle, which can't be pulled off unless you put some pressure on that little button there. Most importantly, it's got an inner belt, so that feeds into your normal belt loops there, okay? And then that acts as, with the Velcro on the side there, that then attaches there, so that the belt, the main belt, the actual shooter belt, doesn't move around as you're moving around, okay? And everything's going to be where you need it to be, okay? On here, it's just a very simple training belt. So we've got a 9mm pouch, we've got a fast pouch 7.62 or 5.56. We got a dump pouch because we don't leave our magazines on the range. A lot of people still like to index them down the front of their jackets or smocks or whatever. And then we've got a cute little holster there, okay, which has got no retention on it. Again, it's for training purposes, and that whole rig is going to set you back about 75 to 80 euros. Okay, it is not going to break the bank. COMTACS, not a bad brand, again from Poland. I think most of their kit's manufactured in China. I may be wrong there, but I've been using it. I used to have a COMTACS competition belt, which is a level up from this, and again much more molly kind of shooter, traditional shooter belt if you like, and that was really good. I had it for about 18 months and it got a bit painful, possibly user error because I haven't fitted it properly sometimes, but I'll talk about that in more detail. What was good about it was I had a very rigid inner belt, so it was stiff and much better than the Tasmanian Tiger modular belt system which I had before then, which was just very flexible and wasn't very good. I'll put a link into the description on both of those just so you can compare them, okay? But again, if they work for you, and many students have got both of those belts that we work with, and many students like them, and no problem at all. Okay, so again, I can't stress this enough. It's down to personal choice and taste. All right, so good budget option. All right, and then you can go to the other end of the spectrum and you can start getting custom gear made and things like that. And that's exactly what Templar's gear basically do. Okay, so this is almost a variation on the theme I've just showed you. Okay, so this is the PT6, okay, tactical belt, and you'll see that it is totally different. Although it looks a very similar design, it is totally different from the security belt I just showed you there from COMTACS. Okay, the one thing it does have in common with it is it has an inner belt. Okay. And again, a lot of trouser manufacturers, combat pant manufacturers nowadays have the Velcro actually already installed on the trousers, so you don't need to wear that. So it's kind of a one-on-one fit. UF Pro do a number of trousers and that kind of style, and it works very well for me. I don't really use an inner belt anymore, but always carry on with you. You just don't know when your trousers are going to fall down, do you? So this is the PT6, and it's been set up very similar way. We haven't got a holster on there yet because it's actually being set up for one of the instructors who's going to be putting his own holster on it. And the main difference is it's number one, the lightness. I mean, the lightness, the weight, I think I should have said. The weight, I mean, this has got half a pouch, twice the pouches on it, nearly, if you ignore the dump pouch, which he'll probably put on there. It hasn't got the holster on there, but I cannot stress enough how light this is. The pouches also are rock solid on here, okay, because they're the Templar's gear pouches. And if you've seen the video on how you set up the PT6 tactical belt, you'll see how they fit on here, and it is quite unique. Also, you can see the rigidity of this belt comes from the belt itself, and if we open it up with this, again, it's a security buckle, so it's not just Fastex, all right? And you can replace those, so you can replace those with a Cobra buckle or even cheap, crappy Fastex buckle if you want. And you'll notice there's no Velcro inside because, I've left them in here, it comes with a load of these pads, okay? And these pads now, I can see where the pouches are going to be fitting best. And then don't forget, I'm also probably going to have a holster with a belt loop on here. I can actually position the pouches so that every one of these pads, I can position these pads so that every single one of them has got direct contact with the Velcro, making it absolutely rock solid and it won't move around. And with the weight, I'm actually going to get one of these because I've got the other one, which I'm going to show you in a second, the heavier one, but I think in the summer I'm going to regret not having one of these. It's just really kind of space age. I mean, even if you look inside, it's like it's got kind of carbon fibre or something like that. I don't know. Just cool. And it's light and it works, okay, from the people who we know have been using them. And I've got a funny feeling we'll be doing another actual in-use review when we get those, because we only had these delivered today, okay, because our first delivery from Templar's gear just rocked up. Okay, so that is a higher end of the market, and you're looking at around about 150 to 200 euros for that kind of setup, and that's probably before you've bought a holster as well, but that will include some of the pouches. Now the next thing we're going to look at is actually my belt, okay, which is again the Templar's gear. It's the PT5, sorry I had to think about that, the PT5, which is again a very unique design, and it's not really a belt, it's more of a sleeve for a belt, Okay, so we do have these Cobra belts in stock. This is actually an old COMTACS one, which I've had for a while, and this one itself comes with the rescue thing. Remember, kids, that's not for hanging off buildings, abseiling, or hanging off helicopters with. It's purely for dragging somebody out of drama. Although don't forget, the belt buckle should have a breaking strain of 2 tons, so be advised. Okay, and then this belt actually feeds into this sleeve here, as you can see. All right, now that offers a number of advantages. Okay, for a start, when we're fitting the holster, it means we can bring the inner belt, the COMTACS belt, we can bring that out and then thread the low leg onto it directly, so it's got 100% contact at the back here. If we go back to the slightly cheaper COMTACS, you can see here that we're actually going to break contact with the belt itself, okay, because of the holster. So that's one thing I really like about it, and I've been using this for 2 months. I can honestly say this is the most comfortable belt system I've ever used. The other reason why it's more comfortable is, if you look at it, we've actually got almost 15 to 20% more width on it, so you've got more support around the belt as well, which means you can carry more weight if you want to. All right, and this is it's probably about 10-12 kilos as it is at the moment, and none of these magazines are loaded, and I haven't got my pistol with me. Okay, so you can see that it is starting to get actually somewhat of a bit of a hybrid between the light belts and the webbing systems popular with the British Army. Okay, so moving around, I've got a magazine pouch. I'll come back to them in a second. I've got a fast mag pouch with that's 5.56 AK magazine. It'll take 7.62. I've been using that as well. 9mm pouches built onto that. I've then got a double mag pouch on the side there. So with the complement of the chest rig with the 3 mags I've got on there, I've got 6 on my belt, 1 in the rifle, and then I've got 2 pistol mags, obviously 1 being in the pistol as well. So already I'm kind of at the same loadout. Without all the water care, if you like, the personal care equipment as that. So this is probably a much better option for things like obua, operating in built-up areas, fibula, fighting in built-up areas, or as we used to call it, fish, fighting in someone's house. Okay, so this a lot more low profile, and probably better for those kind of low profile kind of roles, and also probably better on the range than something like that. It's certainly not as full retard. We've got the dump pouch there, okay, which opens up really nicely, and the quality of the pouches is insane. It's really good. Got a little clip there for my gloves, another 9mm pouch for my multi-tool at the back here, and we have a proper IFAK pouch, okay, and I mean a proper IFAK pouch. It really annoys me seeing these tactical guys come into the range and you see them walking around with cool looking laminate IFAK pouches which are just baggy because they've got nothing in them, because they don't know what to put in them and they don't know how to use them. The other end of the scale is you get boys and girls come into the range and they've got an IFAK pouch about the same size as half a packet of cigarettes, and they carry a couple of plasters in there and, you know, their eye drops and a lip salve, and that's about it. And again, you know, unfortunately we do have serious incidents on range sometimes, not with our students, I hasten to add, but IFAKs do get used, and if you are carrying around kit that you don't know how to use, stop carrying it now, please. If you aren't carrying the right equipment, give us a shout. I'll quite happily give you a free lesson in application of tourniquet, chest seals and everything else, okay, so you actually get some idea of what you should be carrying and how to use it. But going back to this kit, this is a proper IFAK, the same size as on the war belt or the webbing belt, with a spare tourniquet at the bottom for quick easy access, a couple more inside. I'm not going to go into this now. I've got my gloves, I've got my seals, I've got my airway stuff in there, chest seals, and obviously loads of hemostatic gauzes and dressings and all that kind of stuff. So this, I could easily look after 1.5 to 2 people with the contents that are in here and keep them alive for the golden 30. Okay, so again, it's a proper IFAK pouch. Yeah, it does hang out a bit, okay, and it isn't quite as low profile as these sexy little laminate ones, but I have on good authority Templar's gear in the next 4 to 6 weeks going to be releasing their new version of an IFAK, and I think it's probably going to be one of the more horizontal kind of laminate versions, which is going to be more low profile than this. But honestly, I think I'll stick to this, okay, because of the big back panel. This rips off, by the way, because of the big back panel. It doesn't move, it doesn't bounce around as much as you would expect, okay, and it means that I can quickly deploy this, chuck it at a casualty or somebody who's dealing with a casualty, and let them get on with it, okay, depending on what the situation is. And then, as I said, background to the pouches and ammo pouches. I just want to talk about the ammo pouches really quickly, and this is one thing I really like about these, that we have these big lips here, okay, almost like a TikTok influencer who's had the filler, yeah, but what this means is you can index your magazines very quickly without even really looking at them, okay, much easier to get in and out. The retention on the inside there is, well, I know they're not full mags, and they're not, okay, but you can just see how quickly I was able to get those in and out, even from a kind of weird angle like this. And I really like it. That sounds stupid. I really like it. It's so comfortable. I've had it 2 months. I've had so many people walk up to me and say, where'd you get that? So I'm very pleased to be able to say us now in terms of Juliet 4, which was just launched last week. So that is basically the opening range of Templar's gear, and hopefully a little bit of interesting buying advice on maybe what you should or shouldn't be looking for on your first range day or your first range set of lessons, okay? If you've got any questions, comments, ping us, you know how to get hold of us. Leave a message or leave a comment, don't care, even if it's nasty, you can leave it down below, all right? And we really look forward to hopefully seeing you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give us a bit of a thumbs up, really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you. Bye.